This is the last part of the series, and in this part I'm going to show you how to have a thank you message and clear the form on submission, and also disable the input fields once the form is submitted. So in the previous video we just saw that once you submit it, you get a thank you message sent, but here you can see I've cleared the form, and I'll also show you the process how it all happens. But first let's get into the code. The code is similar to the previous second video which I made. The only difference here is that I'm actually disabling the message, the input fields once you submit the form. So for example, let's say I type some information here and I submit it. Once it's submitted, you cannot edit it. I'll show you how that all happens. So you can see there are different input tags which we have, and all these things we want to disable once the form is submitted, because we don't want people to edit the data once it's sent. You can also have disable the text area, because people have sometimes input fields, they have select drop down menus, they also have text areas for messages and all. So you can disable all this using the attribute property and set a disabled equal to true. Let me just show you how that works. I'll just open this. I'll add an attribute called disabled is equal to true, and what this would do is it would prevent me from typing anything into this box once this thing is set. So this is what I want to do once the form is submitted, because I don't want people to edit the data, and it looks a little more better that they realize that okay, the thing has been sent. Otherwise they would keep trying to and worrying that why is it not sending, why am I not getting a response. So this is what's happening with this particular line. This code is what I explained earlier. All this functionality is same. I have not changed anything here. It just fetches the different things like say contact.php, wherever it's going to be sent the data that comes in the action. The method is going to be post, and whatever we submit here, that's going to come into the data as a JavaScript object. And you can also have different properties like required and all that, just to make sure people are actually filling these different fields. So that's one more thing you can do to ensure that people are not just leaving these different input boxes as blank. The other part which is important here is this section, the callback function of the success. So the first line is same as earlier. Whatever response we get from this particular code, whether it is message sent successfully, it will be the message sent. If otherwise, it will be the paragraph tags and the error message between them. That comes in the response, and I'm going to set the HTML of this particular line div with a class of contact message 1. I want to set this as the response which I get from the server. The next line is where I'm actually re-enabling the different input forms. Whatever I have here, I'm going to just copy the paste set here, and I'm going to set the disabled property as false, because I want people to edit it again and all that stuff. So whatever you type here, you can still type it. So once that's the default way it is. Disabled is always false by default. The next thing is I'm going to reset the form. That means I'm going to clear all the things which are entered in this particular field. So let's say I just autofill something for now. You click clear, it clears everything else. So this is what I'm doing with this particular command here. It's going to target the form with an ID which has an ID of 1, and it's going to clear all the input fields which are entered here. Another thing which I'm doing just to make it a little more prettier is that let's say people submit something. I'm making this message more prominent. So it's very simple. I'm increasing the font size to 20. I'm making the thickness a little more. The thickness by default is around 400. Here I've just set it to 700 to make it a little prominent. I'm also just changing the color to orange because I feel that is more prominent. You can make any of the other changes which you want, but this is just a simple tutorial, and I'm just trying to show you the basic core functionality of how you build a particular contact form. So if you go back to the example I showed you in the first video, there will obviously be different styling and other things you can do, which depends on the other aspects of your website and how other things are built on your website. But you see the styling is only different here. The functionality is what I've just showed you just now. I hope that really helped you to understand how a contact form works, and I hope it helps. Thanks.